So they were not being, God's people were not being faithful at this time. And yet, in the midst of that, here is the story of a family who remained faithful. Where you go, I will go. Where you live, I will live. Your people will be my people. Your God will be my God. And so when Naomi saw how resolute Ruth was in this, she didn't ask her again. And they traveled together back to Judah, back to their town of Bethlehem. As it happened, there was a wealthy and influential man named Boaz, who also lived in Bethlehem. He had fields of grain, barley, wheat. He was a successful businessman. So that's what Ruth was asking Naomi. Like, we have to eat. I have to figure out how to provide. Let me go and glean in a field. So Naomi said, yes, go. So Ruth goes. She finds this field. It happened, it just so happened to be that it was one of the fields that Boaz owned. And so she worked and she gleaned. She worked all day. She was diligent. She, picked up everything she could find and gathered. And it wasn't too long till Boaz came out of the city, came along, checking out the field, talking to his foreman and his workers. Boaz went over and he introduced himself. And he said, I want you to keep working in this field. I invite you to continue to glean behind my workers. I want you to join in with the young women who are in this field and just come back. It's okay. Don't go to another field. I've talked to the young men. They're not going to bother you, and you'll be safe here. So please feel free to come back. So Ruth was astounded by this and humbled and grateful and said, why would you do this? Why would you do this for me? I'm a foreigner. That's like the worst thing, right? I'm a foreigner. Why? And he says, I know who you are. I also know the loyalty that you have shown to your mother-in-law, Naomi. I know this. Naomi said, where were you that you got all this? Who blessed you so much with all of this? And Ruth said, well, I was in the field of a man named Boaz. And Naomi said, the Lord bless him. And the Lord has blessed us because Boaz, he is a relative of ours. He is a kinsman redeemer for us. We're just about to a really happy story here when he says, yeah, I'll check this out first thing in the morning. The little catch, maybe not so little, the little catch was that there was someone else. There was someone else who was a closer relative than Boaz to Elimelech. And so while Elimelech was willing, this other person had first rights to be the kinsman redeemer. So he watched the city gate, and when that closer relative to Elimelech came by, he said, I need to talk to you. Here's the situation. You know Naomi's come back. You know that she's come back with nothing, without her husband, without her sons. And she now, her only recourse is to sell the property that would have been in her husband's name, in their family name. It's all she's got, but she's looking for the kinsman redeemer, the person who will redeem this and provide for her life. Boaz got to be kinsman redeemer for this family. So he would preserve their place, give them a place in God's family. They wouldn't lose it. They had that spot. And Not only that, like, so he's providing, he's rescuing, he's restoring their status. He, by marrying Ruth, they've got everything now. She has all the resources, all his resources at her disposal. It's a beautiful thing. Let's look at those three main characters. So let's look at Ruth. Ruth is, the book was named for her. She is a picture of trust and obedience. It's amazing. She didn't understand the plan. She didn't know how the plan was going to go out. She's like, I don't know. But she trusted. She followed. And look at the amazing place she has in the story of God. God knows what he's doing. He directs our steps. It's just such an amazing thing. I don't want us to miss Naomi. Here at Waypoint, we identify as disciples who make disciples. And I know this is Old Testament. I showed up for that day of class. Jesus isn't in this story yet, but Naomi was an amazing disciple maker in what she did, and we can emulate what she did. Naomi led Ruth to faith in God by the way she lived and by what she said. Boaz is the picture of Jesus, the redemption that comes through Jesus' blood, through us, through faith in Christ. I love how this Old Testament book so clearly, overarchingly paints the picture of the story of Jesus' redemption, of you and me, when we have nothing to offer. And we say to him as we humble ourselves, will you be my Redeemer? And he says, yes, we are redeemed by the blood of Christ.